Hi everyone, this is Mr. Frazier, and we are in lesson 8.3, part 2. Okay, and it's solving using sine, cosine, and tangent, and the missing angle. Alright, so again we're dealing with right triangles, and understanding that you pick whether you're using sine, cosine, or tangent. It depends on which angle you're starting from, if you're starting from this one or this one. And then whatever angle you're starting at, or whatever angle you're looking for, you have to pick the correct ratio for the information they give you. So let's look at some examples. Let's say they give you the number 6 and they give you the number 10. Okay? And they want you to find the measure of angle A. Well, when you're looking at this problem, you put your finger on A because that's the angle you're looking for. And what are the names of the two sides? You have the opposite and the hypotenuse. Opposite and the hypotenuse. You must use sine. If I was looking for A and the 6 had moved over here, it would be the adjacent and hypotenuse. I'd have to use cosine. If the 10 was down here, I'd have to use opposite over adjacent, and it would be tangent. So it's all based on location. That's why you want to start making all of your triangles look the same so that you can understand it's based on location. All right, now the calculator work is the part we're going to talk about today. You know which one to pick, sine, cosine, or tangent. The calculator work works like this. The sine of x, or a, or whatever you want to call it, so the sine of a equals 6 over 10. All right? So the math work I have to see on your paper is the one step. Then you can give me the answer. So here's the original problem, because I need to make sure you've set it up right. And then in order for you to find a, that would mean you'd need to move sine. Well, what happens to things when we move across the equal sign? They become their opposite. And this is never more true than this. It becomes inverse sine. Okay? So when you're looking for an angle, you must use inverse sine. And then it's 6 over 10. And it's all calculator work from that point on. So sine, cosine, and tangent are all the same way. You have sine, you have inverse sine, you have cosine, you have inverse cosine, which would be, and you have tangent, and you have inverse cotangent, or excuse me, inverse tangent. Right? And that's basically, you only use these if you're looking for the angle measurement. Now, let's do it on the calculator. And the nice part about this is the words appear right on the calculator. So you would type in second function sine, and it gives you sine of -1. You do 6 over 10. Hit equal, and you get 36.86. When dealing with angle measurements, you want to always round to the nearest degree. Okay? When we're dealing with side lengths, you round to the nearest tenth, unless they tell you hundredth or something else, or foot. But instinctively, just round to the nearest tenth. And for angle measurements, you want to round to the nearest degree. And most of the time, they'll give you those instructions. All right? Okay, so I'm going to give you another triangle real quick. And I'm going to give you two measurements. And you tell me whether we would use sine, cosine, or tangent. I want to find angle A. Do I use sine, cosine, or tangent? So I start with angle A equals, and I put my finger here. And what are my two sides? I have the adjacent side, correct, and the hypotenuse. Adjacent over hypotenuse, you look at your formulas or your reference sheet or your information you've written down, and you find out that that is cosine. So the cosine of A is equal to 15 over 20. So then I solve it. A equals inverse cosine of 15 over 20. Like I said, this is the only work you have to show. And then you'll give an answer. And it's calculator work. So we do inverse cosine of 15 over 20. And we get 41 degrees. All right, so two things you have to keep in mind. You have sine, cosine, and tangent. You have to know that what are those ratios. This is op over hyp. This is adjacent over hypotenuse. And then the one that doesn't use the hypotenuse at all is tangent. That's opposite over adjacent. Okay, so when you know how to name the sides, and it's based on where you put your finger. So if I wanted to find the measure of angle B, I would use sine, because 15 is opposite B and hypotenuse. So opposite over hypotenuse would be sine. Now, is there anybody who can figure out another way? Well, once we found this was 41 degrees, anybody want to tell me what this is? Yes, it's 49, because the whole triangle has to add up to 180. So as you can see, there are some different options you may have. I wish you luck and work well.